All right, I guess this is like chapter 4 or something like that. Here I just want to go, like I want to do some practice while trying to do everything. And I'm also going to do the DPS rotation where we berserk off of the beginning of the rotation. This is really not like something that I think I need to like teach you how to do, except that like obviously you're going to berserk during the high DPS phase of the fight. This could be when they call for uh whatchamacallit, bloodlust, right? So when we bloodlust, we berserk. It causes your the energy cost of all your cat form abilities is 50% reduced. So like um, Tread's going to cost 21 energy, and your energy is going to be regenerating pretty fast. And you're going to be hitting a lot, so you might get some moment of clarities during that time. So basically, it's going to feel like you can shred forever. Like you can shred like a lot of times. You can technically also ferocious bite. I don't do it very often. I almost never do it except at the end of the fight. Um, it's just not that much more damage than shred. Like it's maybe twice as much damage as shred, but most of the time it uses twice as much energy. So it's like you're losing all your combo points. So now if you need to refresh Savage Roar, if you need to refresh Rip, you're gonna have to build those combo points back up. You're gonna be kind of playing catch up. So I tend to avoid Ferocious Bite. So I tend to like if I have 5 combo points and I notice that Rip is expiring in like let's say 10 or 12 seconds, and Savage Roar has like 20 seconds on it or 15 seconds on it, I'm definitely just going to refresh Savage Roar rather than Ferocious Biting, or I just keep shredding, right? Or just keep shredding. Um, but that's Berserk. So basically, the other thing to know about Berserk that's really important is that you cannot use Tiger's Fury while it is active. So that means you always want to use Tiger's Fury right before you activate Berserk, especially if you have low energy. I mean, you don't have to, but like there are situations where you can Berserk right before Tiger's Fury was going to become active, and now you during Berserk, which lasts was it 15 seconds? Yeah, during that Berserk, which lasts 15 seconds, you can't Tiger's Fury. So that means you just lost like 15 seconds. Tiger's Fury is just sitting there. You can't use it. So I have a macro for my Berserk where I use Tiger's Fury and then I use Berserk right after. And by the way, I have a bunch of macros, which I can give you all the macros to make it easier. But like for example, there's all the macros related to like for example the if you're an engineer like the what is it called, hyperspeed accelerators, which gives you 340 haste for 12 seconds. Like that's also on my macros. I also have my Goblin Thermal Saber Charges macroed, and I also have my Potions of Speed macroed. Like Potion of Speed is macroed with Berserk. But without going into that too much, I'm going to swap to the cheap version of everything, Berserk cheap, so that I don't waste some Potions of Speed. Rip cheap. Rip cheap. Where's my rip switch? Rip switch cheap. I'll explain that. Don't worry about that. That's idle swapping, which you can talk. That's like the icing on the cake. Okay, so let's just practice the rotation with Berserk. And this is going to be like me trying to do my rotation as perfectly as possible. I'm going to put some music on. Okay, I did that a little bit differently than I like to do it. Okay. That's horrible. I need to practice. I'm trying to get my last rates back. What? Oh my god, what? I didn't last rate. I meant to last rate and I didn't. That's alright. I'm gonna let this last rate fall off, fuck it. I'm gonna Savage Rogue here too before going to Bear. Wait, why didn't I last rate? That was weird. So this is bad because I'm gonna need to refresh Savage Rogue, so I'm gonna do that now. This is pretty bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually just... Alright, so that was pretty bad. I need to practice more. I might try to record myself doing actually a good job, but you can kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to spin all these plates at the same time. So the icing on the cake, what I was mentioning before is macroing to switch idols. So there's two idols that matter: Idol of Worship and Idol of Ravenous Beast. The Idol of the Ravenous Beast is better. If you're only going to wear one idol, wear Idol of the Ravenous Beast. But if you care, you try hard, you can macro swapping the idols. Now why would you want to do that? You would want to swap to the Idol of Worship right before you're going to rip, and then that's the only time. So it'd be like swap to the Idol of Worship, rip, swap to the Idol of the Ravenous Beast, keep going, and then do that. Now the only problem with that is when you swap your idol during combat, it costs a global cooldown. So you're not going to be able to cast anything for 1.5 seconds. So to deal with that, you can swap your idol while you're power shifting. So when I swap to bear form and swap my idol at the exact same time, it's going to cost 1 global cooldown either way, because swapping to bear form costs 1 global cooldown, swapping to cat form costs 1 global cooldown. But if you switch your idol during that time, it doesn't cost any extra time. So the way that that works is, if I know that I'm going to need to refresh rip, and I'm swapping from bear form to cat form, then I will press the same button that I used to swap to cat form. I have macro to shift that button, so like I use C to swap to cat form. I use Shift C to swap to cat form, and that will swap to cat form and swap my idol to Idol of Worship. I rip, I do some cat stuff, and then when I go to bear form, I have it macroed so that when I go to bear form, it swaps my idol back to the Idol of Ravenous Beast. And then I also have it so that when I swap to cat form, by default, it swaps to the Idol of Ravenous Beast as well. And so that just helps me keep it on Ravenous Beast by default. and then it has it swap to the Idol of Worship only when I press the shift version of swapping to cat form, so that I can apply rip and then keep going. Alright, so I'm gonna stop there. It's got Madonna in the background. Stop there, and that'll be like the last chapter.